He hurts you. You're not invulnerable, Luke.
Anyone who can take you on barehanded can't be good for Harlem. I gotta find him.
Yeah! We gotta start the show!
Welcome to Cordkillers, our mission to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so you, not you, but most of you, all of you out there, can watch the stuff you love when you want, where you want, on whatever device you want. I would not take that choice away from you. I'm Tom Merritt.
Hey, I'm Brian Brushwood, and that was a teaser for season 2 of Luke Cage.
Full trailer. First full trailer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, June 22nd.
Confession time. Everybody expressed so much disappointment. Luke Cage is when I fell off the wagon.
Really?
I was watching all of the Marvel everything's on Netflix, and then Luke Cage started off so strong, and I loved it. And everyone was like, "Oh, but that ending though," and then just that got stuck in my head, and I found something shiny.
You didn't follow up to see if it affected you that way?
I did not.
You also didn't count my opinion?
Wait, Tom, I don't know if you know this about us. You and I have differing levels of tolerance for...
So you took the opinion of strangers who hated it over my opinion.
No, they said they loved it up until the end. They said the ending wasn't very good, and I did. Okay, fine, I'll watch it.
So you took the
I'll watch
for it.
I'm going to invent
also,
a new 25th
the
hour.
comeback is Tom, you love everything.
Okay, well, that's why I was dancing around.
I thought Luke Cage was one of the easier Marvel shows to watch, so I'm surprised you at least dropped off, even if you didn't like it.
Well, I loved it. It was,
yeah.
I think I got to episode 7, and just everybody talking about the end being a disappointment. I was like, well, it sounds like I've gotten most of what there is to get out of it, because Luke Cage is probably second place after Daredevil in my favorite of the Netflix stuff.
Yeah. And same for me. I'll be honest. Don't remember the ending. Couldn't tell you right now how it ended. So maybe you don't need to watch
Tom,
the ending.
will you tell me how it ended?
Let me look it up on Wikipedia while we launch the primary target.
Smart. That's a pro podcaster right there.
So the new fronts were last week. We'll have a little bit about what YouTube talked about there. But Hulu touted all of its numbers. But one of the big things they announced was downloadable content. Netflix and Amazon both have this to varying levels of restriction where you can download content and watch it offline. Hulu will make that available as well. And if you are on the ad-supported Hulu tier, your download will contain ads. So you don't get around the ads, but that was also probably a tripping up point for them to make the deals with content providers. But they're gonna make them available with ads in them. So Hulu's also going to start selling ads into its live TV offering. But what do you think of that, Brian?
Well, okay, so the ad thing sounds like a really smart move on Hulu's part. So it reminds me a little bit of there's tech in podcasting where because when you download a podcast, usually you're downloading it as an MP3 file, like an hour-long single audio file. And if somebody has bought an ad, then the RSS feed, that's in it forever. Like, for example, we have super old episodes of Scam School that are still explaining to people that there's a service called Netflix that will let you get DVDs by mail, and of course that shelf life has long expired, and so there's tech that will re-update those MP3s and make it so if you download it this week, you get maybe a different set of ads than if you downloaded it 3 months ago. So doing that on the video side in an ad-supported ecosystem seems like a smart play for Hulu as far as the financial side of things. And to be honest, you want relevant ads, right? You want, if you are submitting yourself to watching ads, you want them to be ads that are at least, still around.
Yeah, well, and I assume what this means is like Netflix and Amazon, you download a Hulu show for offline viewing, you have a limited time period to watch it. Then you'd have to either re-download it again, in which case the ads would be updated. And then ads into the live TV offering is sort of what every cable provider does, right? They have their local avails that they can sell in. PlayStation View's been doing that, so it makes sense that Hulu would do that too. Hulu also threw out that 78% of Hulu viewing takes place on connected televisions. So the large majority of people watch it on TV, not on a mobile device. And they're going to roll out a stop suggesting button So if you're in the My Stuff section of Hulu and it's suggesting things based on what the babysitter last night watched, you can say, no, don't want that anymore.
That's probably the best, happiest outcome of this whole thing. And it's brilliant because not only does it feel like a benefit to all of the viewers, they're like, oh, I have control and I can say, shut up, stop giving me that thing. People don't think about it from Hulu's perspective, where they're getting very valuable information about what brands are slightly volatile, like ones that have the potential to put off a certain segment of their audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that side of it. It's all good data for them to collect. New shows got announced. 4 Weddings and a Funeral will become a television show for Hulu, written and executive produced by Mindy Kaling and Matt Warburton. Unclear if Mindy will actually be in it. In the Dark will be from Blumhouse TV. The first Friday of each month, a feature-length episode. So monthly horror episodes built around a particular holiday for that year. And Rami, based on the comedy of Rami Youssef.
I don't know anything about Rami, but this In the Dark sounds awesome. Blumhouse takes a lot of chances, and the idea of some kind of 21st century Twilight Zone, once a month, well-produced featurettes with bold ideas, I think would be really, really fun.
I also like Mindy Kaling. I think she's hilarious. Whether she's in it or not, I'm going to try 4 Weddings and a Funeral. My reaction to this was like, really? The old 4 Weddings and a Funeral movie? Really? And then I saw Mindy Kaling. I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe it'll be funny. So
I never saw that. So how many weddings are in it?
I don't remember. I'll look it up on Wikipedia.
As we go into the next story.
Castle Rock, Hulu's second project from J.J. Abrams and Stephen King, or their celebrity name, J. Jing. No? Anyway, Castle Rock is set to premiere on July 25th.
Sorry, I have to apologize for being so far behind you on that one. It took me a second to catch what you're going for. That's very good.
That one's set in the mythical town of Castle Rock that has appeared in many Stephen King novels. So it's sort of tying into that whole Stephen King universe.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, or this project, and we were afraid that it would undercut the Dark Tower movie cinematic universe possibility. Turns out, movie wasn't great, nobody cared, and there's nothing to undercut. So, in other words, this is the closest you and I are going to get to some kind of Dark Tower Stephen King cinematic universe.
I imagine a lone man in a yellow coat will show up at some point. That's July 25th. Catch 22 from George Clooney and starring Kyle Chandler. Clooney producing. I don't think he's in it. That's coming. The First from Beau Willimon and starring Sean Penn is coming. And Little Fires Everywhere from Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington, based on the novel Little Fires Everywhere. That one's coming as well. And they announced a renewal for Handmaid's Tale. Handmaid's Tale will get a 3rd season. It's only a couple episodes into the 2nd season. They also announced a DreamWorks deal. So they're going to be the exclusive home of forthcoming DreamWorks movies like Boss Baby 2 or Trolls 2 starting in 2019, and older DreamWorks movies like Shrek or Shark Tale will be coming to Hulu in 2020, along with some DreamWorks original series.
This feels like a preemptive maneuver to get ready for Disney to drop their streaming service. And so, if DreamWorks is Pepsi to Disney's Coke, then this seems like a smart move for both parties to make.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. The other thing that absolutely should happen is you should absolutely be supporting us at patreon.com/Cordkillers.
Hey, man, here's a fun one. It's not often that we're so close to a big milestone number. We are 5 patrons away from being over 1,500 patrons. If you have enjoyed the advice that we've given, if you feel like you dig our reviews, if we've kept you busy while you've been working out, hanging out, taking care of the kids, doing the dishes, then guess what? You can give us $1. It's not a lot. Just give us $1. Head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers and become one of our bosses.
Yeah. If you actually are 5 people, that's it. We're done.
Yeah, you know what? If you're a weirdo who just wants to make 5 accounts, give $1 on each. Instead of giving us $5, make 5 persons to give us $1.
Yeah. Maybe you're a mutant who just is 5 persons. I don't know. Let's talk about how to watch. All right. The subscription movie service wars have begun.
Yeah.
MoviePass resumed its $10 a month unlimited movie theater ticket service, and CEO Mitch Lowe says the company is absolutely committed to keeping it around. Remember, just wasn't that long ago that we're like, nah, I don't know if we're ever going to bring that back. $10 a month. Unlimited means one movie a day. You're limited to one movie a day, but you're also still limited to only seeing a movie once on MoviePass. You can go see it as many times as you want on your own dime after that. But they did say that they will introduce plans that include 3D and IMAX screenings by the end of May. I wonder if the rising popularity of Cinemia has something to do with this. We've had people write in and mention that they're fans of Cinemia, and Cinemia lowered its price to $4.99 a month in Australia, the US, UK, and Canada. That gets you one movie a month. $6.99 gets you two movies a month. $9.99 gets you two movies and 3D and IMAX. Cinemia is like, we're not waiting to the end of May. We give it to you now. And $14.99 a month gets you three movies and includes 3D and IMAX. And the other thing that Cinemia offers is the ability to buy 30 days in advance, which allows you to choose seats if it's a theater that has reserved seats. That's something you cannot yet do with MoviePass.
Tom, forgive my Andy Rooney impression here, but how is it? I wonder what the legal and societal precedents are that allow them to get away with saying it's an unlimited number of tickets when quite literally the next breath was limited to 31 per month.
Do they say that, or did I say that?
You said that you could only watch one per day, which means...
Oh, look. No, I just went to MoviePass.com. Unlimited. Any theater, any movie, any day.
Yeah, that's not true, though, right? It's...
I don't know. It feels like you might just be being pedantic.
Well, but $10 a month for unlimited movies sounds very different from $10 a month for 31 movies. If I say, picture a number, it's called unlimited. Now picture the number 30. Yeah. They feel fairly different. And one is what they're actually offering. The other is the word that they used. I don't know.
I absolutely see where you're coming from. And carriers used to do the same thing where they're like, unlimited unless you go over 20 gigabytes, then we're going to slow you down, but it's still unlimited because you still can access.
Well, at least that's factually true, right? This is factually untrue. It's 30 movies a month for $10. That's a specific tangible number.
Unless the month has 28 days. Then it's
in which case it's even
movies.
Lower. In which case it's worse than 30.
Leap years, you get 29 in that same month.
I mean, look.
Here's the thing. It gets complicated to explain in a way that gives the idea of like, hey, most people don't see more than one movie in a day. This is essentially pay $9.95 a month, see a movie every day.
Right. Well, then that's a catchy slogan that is also factually accurate. Maybe they should use that one.
And honestly, I think this is, I mean,
again, look, this is not the hill I want to die on. Look, I understand advertising. It's just that sometimes these slogans are a little bit stretchy, and this one feels like at the far end of like, well, now you're just saying something that's factually untrue.
Though I will say you do have a point in another factor, Brian, with the you can only see any given movie once through MoviePass. People are, especially on the Reddits where people are using a lot of it.
There's only like 7 movies out at any time.
Yeah, they're not 30 new movies every month.
Yeah, so now we're down to $10 a month, 7 movies. Like that's the real number of what you can get with this.
Still higher than Cinemia.
That starts to sound like an actual egregious thing. Saying like it's unlimited, but really, I mean, yes, there's a limit, but it's a limit you're not going to hit because no one's really, I'm going to do it. Most people aren't going to do this. But then when you start thinking of it that way, it's like, well, there might be 30 movies, but there might not. And there certainly might not be 30 movies I want to see every month.
And once you've burned a movie, you can't see it again ever. Like once you've seen the Avenger, you can never go back.
That's the current terms,
that's the current policy.
So, well, now I'm getting upset. It's $10 a month for 7. You don't get to call 7 unlimited. If I say unlimited vegetables and you get 7, you're going to be like, that's not very many vegetables.
There's more than 7 movies. There's more than 7 movies a month.
Also, okay.
Yeah. But it is all still within the realm of a great value, but it is weird writing and weird branding, especially for those hardcore users who are making Reddit threads every single day.
And specifically the hardcore users whom they are courting by using words like unlimited and only $10 a month.
It's always been
sure.
a movie a day. That hasn't changed. What changed is you can't see a movie more than once.
Yeah.
And I think I bet that's a thing they add in their 3D IMAX screenings. Like, okay, now for $20 a month, you get 3D and IMAX screenings, and you can only see a movie once that's 3D or IMAX, but you can see a 2D movie as often as you want. That's how these services usually work, is they take the restriction from the lower plan and then they loosen it up in the upper plan, but add a new restriction.
And for the record, look, I'm sympathetic to where they're at. Their marketing department has to sell a service that they even don't know for sure what it's going to look like 6 months or a year from now. They are trying to inject themselves into a constantly shifting landscape and figure out is the power of being able to influence hundreds of thousands of media consumers worth the expense of paying for all the movies for those that same product. And so, they don't necessarily know. So I understand you take bold risks and all that, but
you can cancel anytime. Yeah. Now put that next to Cinemia. Yeah, that one with an S, spelled with an S, just to confuse me. That one is very straightforward. You get 1 a month at this price, 2 a month, this price.
You know what they should do? I don't.
Do you like that better? I'm curious.
I don't know.
It's not as good of value.
Well, and it certainly doesn't sound as exciting as when you say 3, that's a tangible number that I can imagine. If you say unlimited, I picture a galaxy of movies. But I wonder what if they make it easy to upgrade. So it's like, just go see whatever movies you want. If you have more than this number of movies, more than 2 movies, then, just keep using the service and we'll automatically upgrade you to the 3 a month plan.
Like a ting, like a movie ting?
Yeah, right? Wouldn't that be great?
I guess so. But then at that point, I'd rather just have a quote unquote unlimited buffet.
Smash cut to the movie theater saying or here's a nutty idea. Why don't you pay for your tickets?
Just pay for the tickets.
Just walk up and say, I want to see this movie and give us $10. That's an idea.
Yeah.
We're the movies.
Yeah. Why don't you just marry somebody who gets a job at Fandango?
Why don't you just watch everything in pre-release?
Why don't you just have a Sky Cinemas open up across the street from you and just go watch whatever you want?
All right, fine. We figured it out. We know how to watch things. Let's talk about what to watch in Under Surveillance.
Hollywood, you're welcome.
It's all about location.
Under Surveillance.
I find this one fascinating. I'm curious if I'm the only one. Deadline and The Hollywood Reporter, both reporting sources saying that Universal Television, my wife works for NBC Universal, owner of Fandango, is in talks to end Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, the TV show, with a theater-released movie rather than ending the show on Netflix. First 6 episodes of season 4 arrived on Netflix May 30th, so it's kind of midway through its release of this season. I think that is really interesting that it seems to me like a milestone that a Netflix show hit that X-Files part, right? X-Files was like, and we'll have our big finale in a movie that you go see in the theater. Star Trek graduated from we're no longer on TV. Now Star Trek: The Next Generation is movies. I find it interesting that we're to that point with the Netflix show.
Well, I think the interesting part to me is, for example, the Star Trek example, you had a quote unquote failed sci-fi show that was no longer on the air. And that years after the fact of its cancellations, people realized there's potential brand value there that we can tap into.
I was thinking of TNG. I was thinking The Next Generation.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I think it still tracks for that. I was thinking of the original The Motion Picture. But, and then separately, X-Files, you had a case where it's there's so much brand value on this currently running show that you needed to figure out a way to tap into even more of that money. So it's let's throw a movie on top of it. In this case, you have a show on Netflix, and of course Netflix is very coy about how many people are watching it. So as far as we know, might be the most popular show on the planet, but Netflix will never tell us. You've got brand value, and they're talking about how to end it. And do you end it with a final season, or do you end it with a big bang? And I think essentially it's it's a bit like, I don't know, Serenity. It's like throwing a party for all the fans who were on that journey leading up to it. I think it could be a very smart play.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of reasons they could do this, and we don't know. That's a really interesting way to look at it, right? Which is, it could be it's so successful, and we can't pay these actors. Ellie Kemper's too expensive now. Tina Fey's too expensive to produce now. But we could probably make it worthwhile if we did a movie. That's what happened to X-Files. Or it could be like, yeah, this just isn't got the return anymore, but I bet we could wring a few more dollars out of it if we throw it out there and do the finale in the theaters. And then, of course, there's the undercurrent of Netflix wanting to do day-and-date release of movies. So theoretically, to see the finale of a Netflix show, you wouldn't be able to watch it on Netflix, at least not at first.
And keep in mind, Netflix is very smart with their A/B testing. So it could be that, there's floating the story to see how that's received. And then maybe this particular property gets a movie release. And if that does really well, think about all the visuals of all the people who are going to be tweeting about like, oh, I met so many other fans of this thing that I like very much. That could be a very outwardly focused thing that would like right now, the cancellation of a series is a mark of failure, essentially. It's like, okay, well, this ran its course, it petered out, now it died or whatever. But if you end with a movie and you get the visuals of that movie doing really well and that passionate fan base, now all of a sudden you wrap a bow on it and you're like, and now it goes on the shelf with all of our other awesome successes that you could get when you subscribe to Netflix.
Yeah. Do you think a show being canceled is a mark of failure? I don't think that's as true as it used to be.
I agree that it's less true now, but I don't see how a cancellation is a mark of success.
Well, if Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, let me paint the scenario. I got the sense from reading these stories that they're saying we just don't have much more story. You know, the premise of Kimmy was like, ooh, she's been underground for so many years and now she's experiencing modern life. And isn't that funny? After 4 seasons, she's learned enough about the modern world. There, you can't ride those jokes too much longer. So it's not a failure. It's just a natural end of her story.
Yeah, and that could be, Bryce pointed out in the chat that cancellation does not mean an ending necessarily. Yeah. I'm thinking just in the abstract, general tactical sense. Of just what an interesting play this is, and in what situations does this extract the maximum amount of cash and preserve the maximum amount of goodwill among the fans?
There's that word cancellation has a negative connotation, right?
Yes.
But, J.R.R. Tolkien canceled Lord of the Rings after book 3.
Book 3. We're actively hoping George R.R. Martin cancels Game of Thrones.
Right, totally. All right. A recut version of Arrested Development appeared on Netflix May 4th. The recut version of the 4th season. If you remember, the 4th season was told in this weird achronological style that was centered around the individual characters. This new cut is straight chronological. The episodes are a little shorter. They're 22 episodes. The original cut was 15 episodes, and those episodes were a little longer. Also, Bryce noted today, Arrested Development Season 5 trailer dropped, announcing a May 29th release date.
Yeah, that trailer we watched just before we started the program, and it's a weirdly cut trailer that at first you have this wave of excitement like it's Arrested Development because of course you love it, and then like the middle of the trailer I'm like, this is not good. And then
the middle is all like old jokes.
Yeah, stuff from season
old
2.
Footage. Yeah, footage from old seasons.
Yeah. But then they started showing snippets and funny stuff.
I watched the remix season over the weekend.
Good. I wanted to know about this. How did it play?
So I feel like it's probably easier to watch than the original cut. Mm-hmm. But part of it is that the story wasn't written to be in a mostly chronological order, and it's also not a complete chronological order. So there's still a lot of like fits and starts and going back and forth. But it also means that there's a lot more recapping and a lot more narration from Ron Howard. Huh. And there was a point probably halfway through where I realized, every episode has to start with like 3 minutes of recap, because they've recut this not only in a way that is chronological, but also to fit the format of the other seasons, where it starts with a recap of things that have happened. It has commercial breaks, and when it comes back from commercial breaks,
that's like, weird.
They were doing the thing. Yeah,
that's really weird.
Supposedly, it's because they want to prep season 4 for syndication.
Okay,
because there's not 100 episodes yet.
Okay,
but
that's a weird thing with a Netflix show.
Yeah,
because Netflix likes to own the rights worldwide,
and
so you wouldn't need syndication.
Well, but if syndication money is sitting there on the table, you're telling me that they're not going to press the give us money?
Usually Netflix says you won't need syndication money. We're basically replacing syndication money. So it would be interesting if that's not happening.
Right, and supposedly, I mean, this was their second original series on Netflix. So this was old deals. 20th Century Fox, I'm sure, still has their hands in a lot of this. You cannot watch it offline. You can't set it for offline downloading. A lot of people have reported it's not available in all countries. I've seen forum reports. So it's just kind of a weird thing. If you want to see the original cut, because I've seen so many people ask this, it's under trailers and more in Netflix.
So this is replacing.
It's
that's awful.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't like that at all.
I really like
it's still there. Cut. You just have to dig to find it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. But like if you are a casual person, like I just watched season 3, now let me watch season 4. This is now what you will automatically be served unless you're like, no, I've heard there's an original mix that
it's the author's intent that you watch it this way.
They're George Lucasing us.
I really did like the original cut of season 4, and I think if you haven't seen it yet, you didn't.
I did. I did like it.
I did not.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I liked season 4 well enough, but I did not like the way they told that story.
Given, I thought it was about as elegant a solution. It was certainly an ambitious idea because originally they wanted it to be something that you could watch in any order and have it play. And they fell short of that, so they arranged it by characters. Given the fact that this is so many A-list actors at the height of their game that there was no chance of getting them all in the room. Yeah. At the same time, I thought it was about as elegant a solution as you could come up with.
Yeah, though I would say if you have seen the original cut, it may be worth seeing the recut, if only because they've also, if you look at the original cut, there are a lot of weird things that they did to make it work. Notably, a lot of bad green screening.
Oh my
God.
God.
A lot of bad CG.
Did they fix all that?
They fixed some of it.
I just remember Lucille clearly walking in front of clip art with a green halo around her.
Some of those nasty ones they cleaned up. They did not really. I don't think they could do much to save the Henry Winkler in the after the boat sinks in his sailor suit. That is still looking real rough. But I'm looking forward to season 5, whether or not it is more like season 1 through 3 or season 4. Season 5 are cited.
Did you all see the Star Wars Arrested Development parody that Ron Howard voiced?
I did not.
It recapped. Which movie did it recap?
I think it's A New Hope.
A New Hope, yeah.
And Into Empire a little bit.
Yeah, and it just retells that story.
It's the story of a family.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. I won't say any more. We just go check that out.
The rest.
A couple other things real quick. Westworld renewed for season 3. Only a few episodes into season 2. So we're definitely going into a season 3. And Ant-Man and the Wasp. Don't forget, new trailer out. Opens July 6th. This trailer follows the premiere of Avengers Infinity War, but really there's not a whole lot going on in it that relates to that, I don't think.
Yeah, well, I heard recently that the way they're solving the whole, this is not a spoiler, the
events of Avengers Infinity War is...
yes, no. But
the way they're solving the events of Avengers Infinity War's impact on Ant-Man and the Wasp would be...
to set Ant-Man and the Wasp before Infinity Wars. But I'm wondering if they're telling that, how they're communicating that to the audience, because I only heard that for the first time today, and I don't think they're putting that in the ads or anything. And
I mean, honestly, I think they could just do Ant-Man and the Wasp afterwards, and with a couple of acknowledgments, it would be fine. I think they could work it that way, but certainly setting it before would make some things easier, simple. But there's also some things that would not be easier. Maybe we should talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about what we were watching, Brian.
Hey man, I finally got caught up on Deadwood, watched episode 207 and 208. Westworld we watched last night. I tried to talk my wife into watching more of The Expanse to get caught up with that. And there was that awkward moment where I'm like, okay, well, you want to watch The Expanse? She's like, no, I want to go to bed. I was like, okay, but you know, I've got to watch The Expanse. And she's like, you're just going to watch it all without me, aren't you? And I was just like, no, that's crazy talk. I wouldn't. What? Oh, that's crazy.
It's my job, honey. Sorry.
And as I drive my daughter to school, we're continuing to, for me, it's a re-listen. For her, it is a first-time watch of The Office. And we just got to the first episode of the second season, The Gay Witch Hunt. And it was fascinating to explain to my daughter how much culturally has changed in just 10 years. Wow. Like about you know, how mainstream acceptance of alternate lifestyles are of all varieties now, that it was, you know, The Office season 2 came out just at that sunsetting period where it was safe enough for them to do a whole episode about, but fringy enough that it was credible for Michael Scott to be so ignorant and so out of the loop and stuff. It was really interesting.
Very, very interesting. So I'm watching Handmaid's Tale, and it is very intense, but good. If you liked season 1, you're still going to like season 2, I think.
Is it as depressing as season 1?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it would get less depressing. I was hoping people start punching people.
There might be punching, but it is depressing punching.
They're just crying while they punch. Cry fist.
Also, we caught up on Blackish, which we tend to watch in spurts. And this last episode of Blackish last week was not funny.
Oh.
Dealing with marriage and particularly marital problems with the two main characters, Dre and Bo, in a very like head-on way. Like, just like, all right, we're going to have the two lovable members of this family that you've grown to love over all these seasons look like they're going to fall apart.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just,
it was
like, was it satisfying? Because something could be not funny, but still very satisfying.
Yeah. No, I thought so. We thought it was a really good episode. In fact, Eileen and I were both like, what performances? Like, these are comedic actors, and they nailed these very serious performances. And there were even a few funny asides, generally involving the kids, because the kids don't really, well, I mean, the kids know because kids always know, but like the kids aren't involved in any of the really like combative scenes. They try to hide it. And there's like some dark comedic moments where they're having a yelling match, and then they realize that the kitchen that's being remodeled is being worked on, and there's like a workman right there.
Who's awkwardly just absorbing all of this.
Yeah. So anyway, really, I mean, that series continues to impress me. Also, what impressed me was Donald Glover on SNL.
Wait, well, okay. Thankfully, I just had to rewind that, and I realized, he said impressed, not surprised. I was like, what? You're surprised that Donald Glover is funny?
Not at all surprised. Donald Glover, I think, because when they've done this a few times where they have a host on who's like, I auditioned for Saturday Night Live and I wasn't selected, Lauren, but no hard feelings. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Donald Glover did that and then threw himself into the sketches. Sometimes the hosts are sort of maybe not even in every sketch, and some sketches they're like, we had to put him in, but we'll put him. No, Donald Glover is like powering every sketch, and they're some of the funniest things that I've seen on SNL. And he was the musical guest.
Oh, that's amazing, dude. That's great.
The only thing that disappointed me was I wanted Donald Glover to come out and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, Childish Gambino," and then dash over there, but instead he got like famous friends of his to come out and do it. So it worked.
Nice.
All right. What should we be on the lookout for, Bryce?
Hey, we got a recommendation from longtime on the lookout writer Dave from Waco. He writes, "Hi guys, here's another great series that my wife and I have enjoyed for years. It's BBC's New Tricks. 12 seasons of the show ran from 2003 to 2015, and most of the seasons have 8 to 10 episodes. It's a cold case police procedural with an interesting gimmick. Rising star detective superintendent Sandra Pullman leads a large kidnapping rescue mission that goes wrong, and rather than fire her, the Met decides to let her run a new department, UCOS, Unsolved Crimes and Open Case Squad, but give her no personnel and almost no resources. She recruits 3 retired cops, and each of them are a real character, and they start digging into the old cases that need solving. Of course, time has moved on, and the retirees' old ways of solving crimes don't always match modern-day policing, but as time goes on, these old dogs do indeed learn some new tricks. Over the years, there have been several cast changes, including Wedge Antilles, Dennis Lawson, who joins the team about halfway through. The mysteries are fun, but the characters are fabulous and their interactions are hilarious. The other great thing is that there are 107 episodes, which doesn't come close to Doctor Who, but it seems to be very rare for a BBC drama series. I'm not sure how it can be found. I wound up getting the last 2 seasons from Netflix's DVD service. Thanks for the great show and the opportunity to learn about interesting new shows, Dave and Waco. Thank you, Dave. I found that New Tricks is streaming on Hulu in the US. It looks like all episodes, but I couldn't find it in many other places. UK TV Play in England had 1 season or so. It's not on iPlayer, so if you're interested, maybe check the VOD stores like Amazon or iTunes for that. There you go.
New Tricks.
Have you seen it, Dom?
No, I haven't. It sounds fun, though. Like maybe when I'm done with Death in Paradise, I'll fill that hole with New Tricks.
Yeah. Check it out.
If you got something we should be on the lookout for, email us cordkillers@gmail.com. And then once you've done that, do what Brian is about to tell you.
Oh, yeah, man. As you guys know, we have other projects. Tom does DTNS. He writes books. He entertains the hearts and minds of children across the world with his hilarious japes. Oh, wait. Is that a new cover? What is that? Wait, is that a new book?
Oh,
what you got? What do you got?
Oh, it's not out yet. This is just a proof.
Oh.
Story of a salvager who gets fired from her job, though.
Oh, I know this one. I'm very excited. So separately, I do a couple other shows, including the one I'm super, super proud of, The Modern Rogue, and we've started doing daily articles. If you haven't tapped into the Modern Rogue ecosystem, I think you're really going to dig it. If you can, and if you enjoy our shows, just take a look at one episode of The Modern Rogue on the YouTube channel. Just read one article at themodernrogue.com, and I think you'll be really, really pleased. We're looking to we have exciting secret news that's being brewed up on the Modern Rogue side of things.
I'm excited to find out the exciting secret news. Where do they go?
Just look for, man, anywhere you find the words Modern Rogue, unless you're a Magic the Gathering player playing a Modern
Rogue deck. Walk out in the front yard and yell, Modern Rogue!
That's right.
All right, let's move on to the front lines.
Front lines!
As I promised you, YouTube had their new fronts announcing they have 1.8 billion logged in users each month. I think they're trying to show we're almost as big as Facebook. YouTube is renewing Kevin Hart's What the Fit, also Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud, and a second season of the Slow-Mo Guys, The Super Slow Show is coming. There's a new untitled show from Demi Lovato in the works, in which she'll raise awareness for issues she's passionate about. They renewed their Coachella deal for 3 more years, so you'll be streaming live Coachella on YouTube. Will Smith's September 25th bungee jump over the Grand Canyon called The Jump Off will be on YouTube. LeBron James' Best Shot documentary series coming to the YouTube NBA channel. A series with Quantico star Priyanka Chopra called If I Could Tell You Just One Thing coming to YouTube. Training days with comedian actor Jack Whitehall training the world's top soccer players, or he's training with the world's top soccer players, will debut May 9th on Whitehall's YouTube channel. Again, I think what was interesting with this, Brian, is a lot of new shows, many on YouTube Red, some just on YouTube channels.
Yeah, we're getting dangerously close to the point where I'm going to have to subscribe to YouTube Red. I guess the first episode of Cobra Kai is out for everybody to watch.
Whole season.
The whole season?
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Oh, man, I got this close to subscribing to YouTube Red.
I think the first episode or 2 is free for everybody.
So they're behind the YouTube Red paywall.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is that the first episode is outside of it? But I hear fantastic things. People say that it's a worthy sequel. It's the first worthy sequel that Karate Kid has gotten.
Set your bars higher, folks, but still, that's good news.
Meanwhile, Facebook announced Oculus TV launching in May with Facebook Watch, Red Bull TV, and Pluto TV. It'll work with Netflix, Hulu, and Showtime, who already have standalone apps in the Oculus store. There's also Oculus venues for live concerts and sports. And we were talking about how long ago did the Oculus Go come out, Bryce? Or I guess Tom would know.
Yeah, they announced it last week, and it started shipping immediately.
So it is okay. So
mine's coming tomorrow. Scott Johnson already has his. I bought mine from Oculus. He bought his from Amazon. Lesson learned.
Wild. Interesting. So people were talking about how the Oculus Go makes sense as a good device to use on plane trips, right?
Yeah, if you don't realize, Oculus Go is wireless. You don't plug it into a computer. You don't have to put your phone in it. It just is a headset. One of the reviews I read, the person said, my favorite use was laying down in bed and watching Netflix because I just could be comfortable. I didn't have to prop myself up to see a screen.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, we'll when I get my Oculus Go, I'll try this stuff out and let you know. I'm also going to be on a plane for a really long time on Friday, so maybe I'll try it there too. In addition to the forthcoming paid Disney streaming service that we've been telling you about, Disney Digital is going to launch an ad-supported free service aimed at millennials this summer. It will feature Disney social content, some other short-form video programs from Oh My Disney, some maker creators and partnerships, a few other things. But Disney really was emphasizing this is a safe place to advertise because unlike YouTube, we've got no controversies about the ads, the videos that your ads will run next to.
Yeah, that's a smart play for them to do. And I think that plays to their strengths. It's a little bit weird because Disney is, of course, associated with the kids brand. And I think that's careful language to say it's targeted at millennials. How old is a millennial? Is a millennial 16?
20s.
Is a millennial 14? Is a millennial 12?
No, I think the millennial's 20s. Like this is not for kids. This is older.
Okay,
yeah.
Got it.
Because it's Baker. It's that kind of crowd.
Got it. Recent study by Kagan highlights how soaring cable TV prices are contributing to the cord-cutting trend. The firm was quick to note how the average cable bill has increased in price by 74% since 2000, even adjusted for inflation. Prices for multi-channel packages have steadily risen from just below $60 a month in 2000 to close to $100 at the peak of the year 2016. That's probably not news to most of us, but it's good to have confirmation of it.
Yeah, and a lot of times when people talk about you really can't save money with cord cutting, they'll compare the temporary offer, right? And then the argument runs, well, if you're smart like me, you'll call them up every year and take the chicken challenge and you'll never pay the full price. But the fact of the matter is, most people don't do that. And so the average price has been near 100. I think the untold part of this story is that in 2017, the average price of a multi-channel subscription came down.
Yeah. Well, it makes...
For the first time in 17 years.
Do you think that's a case where enough people are taking the lower price, quote unquote, introductory offers that's skewing it, or just their full on prices are reduced?
Cable companies are coming out with cheaper packages, with these slimmed down packages.
Oh, finally. Of course, the slim bundles.
Yeah. Slimbos, as I call them. Or Slim Booze. Vudu updated its Apple TV app to support 4K. That means you can get 4K Disney movies from Vudu, then watch them on the Apple TV. Disney is the only studio that doesn't support Apple's policy that gives 4K versions at the $20 HD price. So if you buy the movie from the Apple store, you can't get 4K Disney versions. But if you buy it from the Vudu store, you can.
Yeah, good luck with that. We'll see how that works out for you. I think Apple
it's a workaround, right?
Yeah, but I think Apple did a very smart thing by just buy the 1080p version and get the 4K free and all that stuff.
Well, but you won't if you buy a Disney movie. You'll just get the 1080p version because Disney wasn't cooperating. So
correct.
For you and I, in the meantime, this is the way to get the 4K version.
JBL and Google announced a new soundbar that uses Google Assistant to control the TV and that is plugged into. The JBL Link Bar features seamless HDMI input switching, and the Google Assistant can also be used when the TV is off. Who do you think is the best assistant between A, S, and G?
I don't really use Google Assistant very often. The one I use the most is A. Siri, I find to be painfully inept.
Yeah, I'm really surprised.
I would say it's probably a close race between Google Assistant and Amazon's.
Yeah, I'm woefully ignorant because on my mobile device I use the S word, and the rest throughout the house I use the A word. So I haven't really.
I have a Google device that I could use it on. I just never do. Same with Cortana. I actually use Cortana never, even though I have Windows devices. But every time I've tried to use Cortana, it's been perfect. Cortana may actually be the best.
That's so funny because I spend most of my time
interoperates with Amazon. They announced that today at Microsoft Build. So you can tell either one, Cortana, open A, or A, open Cortana, and then do anything that the other one can do just by talking to it.
Oh, wild. That's awesome. Very cool.
All right, folks, let's get to the dispatches. They're from the front. Actually, this one's from Jeremy, and he brings up an interesting, vague piece of wording. He's like, look, Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, started with a premiere on the Disney Channel, then followed with the series airing on XD, Disney XD. Resistance seems to be doing the same thing. The release on StarWars.com states it will premiere this fall on Disney Channel in the US and thereafter on Disney XD and around the world. That wasn't included in stories on The Verge and other sites, which is probably why you guys missed it. I'm excited for this series and have full faith in Filoni to make another great series. Don't worry, even though I'm a boss, this won't affect your performance review. Well, hold on, Jeremy. We weren't using The Verge. We were using the Wart Zone. And when you look at the phrase, it says that it will premiere this fall on Disney Channel and thereafter on Disney XD, which could mean exactly what Jeremy's saying, which is, hey, we'll have the first episode on Disney, make a big deal about it. After that, it'll be on XD. Or it could mean the way IO9 says it, which is Star Wars Resistance will run on the Disney Channel this fall, as well as airing on Disney XD at a later date. I'm not sure which one's true.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't even want to speculate. But Chris,
I think Jeremy's probably right. Because that's what they did before.
Right.
But it is kind of confusing.
So Chris writes in saying Brian mentioned that he liked the autoplay feature on a lot of sites. Just sit back, let a computer pick video after video for you. I have to say, please be sure to turn off your autoplay feed when you're done, as Tom suggested. Now, I have nothing on my phone to be ashamed of. No inappropriate pictures, history, or apps. Brag much. You could give my phone to a mother or a toddler and I wouldn't be worried about anything on it. Oh, so you never mind. Except for the day after Christmas last year. On Christmas Day, I Chromecasted the 10-hour version of Nick Offerman's Yule log onto my dad's TV. At the end of the day, we turned off the TV, not realizing my phone continued to autoplay the videos. The next day, I did notice, and my YouTube history was horrifying. At first, suggestions were benign. Nick Offerman on Conan, then other celebrities on Conan. Soon it picked videos of a young actress on Conan, then the one where she was at a select French beach, and then other videos of young people at similar beaches. And eventually, it was playing the kinds of videos that celebs have sued people over. I was so horrified and embarrassed that I deleted my YouTube history. I wish now I had taken a screenshot as proof, but at the time I didn't even want the screenshot on my phone. So I just wanted to remind people to turn off autoplay suggestions when you're done, or you might be surprised where the algorithm takes you. That's a great horror story. Well done,
really
Chris.
Is. I forgot to turn off my Twitch rebroadcast of Daily Tech News Show one day, which basically just captures the YouTube stream on OBS and sends it out on Twitch.
Yeah.
Which meant because that browser, which now has autoplay off, had autoplay on, it just went to the next video, which at first were DTNS episodes. By the time I got to it, when someone had alerted me, it was strange Middle Eastern children's shows. I have no idea what they were saying, but it was like, how did you get from this to that?
It's like when you have two Siri devices talking to each other, and it's like it takes its own recommendations and be like, well, apparently you loved that because you sat through it. Let's see how weird you can get.
Yeah, classic game of telephone, I guess. Derek writes in, says, "Dear Tom, Brian, Bryce, and notably witty guest." Sorry, we didn't fulfill that part of the equation. Hey, thanks for the great show, info, and insights. We've been cord cutters for about 5 years now. It's been interesting seeing our kids grow up without cable. My wife and my old habit of sitting down and flipping through the channels to see what's on seems to be a habit of old. That's what he wrote. I don't think I'm reading that right, though. My old habit of sitting down and flipping through the channels to see what's on seems to be a habit of old. I travel for work to the tune of 130 to 150 nights a year in a hotel room for the past 17 years. I found the RAV Power File Hub and Travel Router. It pairs with my Chromecast and cell phone with massive SD cards available to me, giving me the ability to watch what I want, when I want, where I want. You know the deal. The File Hub is a router that I interface through Wi-Fi on my phone and can then connect to the hotel Wi-Fi. My Chromecast and phone connect to the File Hub, and I can then watch YouTube, Red, Netflix, Hulu, or my saved podcast directly on the hotel TV. This adds extra utility when traveling with the family, and he talks about how all the kids connect to the file hub, so they don't have to type in the hotel credentials or any of that stuff. He can kind of control what they see because of the file hub. He says, for all the great info, I've recently become a monthly recurring Patreon. If my dollars don't say it, let me say it with letters. Thank you. Well, thank you for the recommendation as well, Derek.
Yeah, love those in the trenches reports. We've got an audio question. Did you get a chance to listen to this audio question, Tom?
No, no one played it for me.
Okay, I don't know the answer to this, but Tom might know the answer.
No, I don't know the answer. I'm just going to say that right now.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
Just in case I don't.
We'll see.
Hello, Tom, Brian, and Bryce. This is Tom here, one of your bosses. Wondering, have any of you tried the new YouTube TV app on the Apple TV? I just tried it on both my phone and the TV, and both of them are giving me difficulties. I wonder if you had any tips or tricks to get it set up. Is there a secret thing you need to do to get it set up, or what?
Man, this sounds very specific, Tom.
Well, no, the problem for me is that it's not specific. Like, I have not tried the YouTube TV app on the Apple TV. I have tried it on the phone, on iOS and Android, but I don't know what problem he's running into to get it set up.
That's you know what? It's good that we did this. Everybody, we love audio questions. Please make them specific.
We also are not tech support, unfortunately.
Yes, also that.
Hello, Tom, Brian, Bryce, and honored guest. As a Canadian, I can sympathize with fellow Canadians in cord cutting. So far, my go-to device has been Amazon's Fire TV Stick, available in Canada. It has access to all of the major streaming services in Canada, such as Prime Video, Crave TV, and Netflix. Honestly, there isn't much else besides those three. We are nowhere near as far ahead as the States, and it sucks for being a cord cutter, but you learn to live with what you have. Fire TV or an Android equivalent such as the Shield TV is the only platform that will run all of the streaming services on one device. Depending on where the user is, they could also go for an over-the-air antenna and a Plex server or similar for DVR. We have a lot of over-the-air channels in the major centers.
Chris from Parkville, Maryland says, Brian's mention of Sex House in episode 218 reminded me of two great send-ups of reality shows. Spike TV had 3 seasons of the Joe Schmoes Show. The show featured just one real contestant. Everyone else was an actor, the host, the other contestants, everyone, all playing a giant practical joke on one person. I watched the first 2 seasons back in 03 and 04. I didn't even realize the 3rd season was created nearly a decade later. Side note, I watched both of these when they came out on Spike TV. The first season is absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. The second season was okay, but I also did not know that there was a 3rd season, so I'm excited. And he also mentions Invasion, Iowa was also a creation of Spike TV, featured William Shatner punking an entire town. I thought he was puking the town. He tells the town of Riverside, Iowa, that he's filming a movie there. The town is chosen because it's the birthplace of James T. Kirk. Unfortunately, I don't know where you'd watch most of these shows. Season 3 of Schmoes available on Amazon Prime, which will now have a few more bucks of mine. And he gives us links to all that. Yeah, I'll vouch for how interesting it was watching the Joe Schmo show at the time. It's really kind of adorable.
And then, by the way, Just Watch is a great resource to try to find where stuff is playing. If you're like, hey, I don't know where this is, that's my go-to for that. Blair wrote in and said, I looked up Sex House on my where you can watch service Real Good. It says it's not available to watch anywhere on the internet. So either my app is broken or you have basically touched me in the morning and walked away.
I don't know what that's
where exactly can I find it?
It's on YouTube. Just look for Sex House.
Yeah,
it's on the Onion.
Just type in sex on the internet and you'll find it, I'm sure.
This is an interesting gap. Shows that are on YouTube are generally not considered shows by these lookup services like Real Good, because they're like, well, yeah, there's so much stuff on YouTube. We're not going to, index every single thing on there. So
yeah.
That's weird. Blair, I hope that helps, though. Just go to YouTube and search. You'll find it. It's
also
on the Onion
Definitely
channel.
Watch it. Definitely watch it.
Let's thank our guest, Brian.
Oh, thank you. Very interesting guest. Where can people purchase product and or service? Oh, they can.
Our guest is all of you.
Hey, the real guest was the friends we made along the way.
Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live on twitch.tv/nightattack, which is also carried on diamondclub.tv Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And you can be in our hearts by joining us then.
Hey guys, Brian and Tom here, and it's just the same old message at the end of the credits, just like always.
That's right, Brian. Nothing new here except your name showing up.
Oh my gosh,
because
I've got a
you
name.
just supported us on Patreon.
Yeah, all those $5 donors, look at that. That's your name in pixels. We're gonna make you famous, kid. Put your
There's
name in
some
pixels on
classic
the internet.
names in there, but some of you are new. Some of you aren't there. It's sad. What can they do, Brian?
I mean, they could go to patreon.com/Cordkillers and pledge $5 an episode and be one of these amazing people, like this one. Oh, look at that name right there.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.